Waiting to see if we have audio. I turned on the mic. Yes, we have audio. Okay, good. We have officially audio. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Leslie Ohnstad. I'm the creator of Color Art Products, and I'm your host of Color Play Live 3 days a week, Tuesdays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, on Saturday at 9 a.m. You're listening today because you're mixing a bunch of Prism 4. Well, Miss McGee is mixing colors as we speak. I don't know how much better than that gets, right? Oh my goodness. So what's everybody going to be doing for the Memorial weekend? It seems like half the country starts packing up Thursday night and we all start thinking about boating or barbecuing or grandchildren coming over to visit. So hope you all have some fun stuff planned this weekend. Hope you guys do. Yesterday we were fooling around with this bad boy, which after staring at it, the colors are so bright. When I finally get back to the background, that background is so dark and muted. Ooh, barbecue and planting flowers. Woo-hoo! Exactly what I want to do. I'd rather be planting flowers, even though I don't mind painting them. But when I started looking at this, I mean, look how dark that background was. It was almost this shade of like a dark red wine. So when I'm done, winey brown, when I'm done, I'm going to have to make sure the back kind of matches the front because when I added that uh, that golden nickel with the venomous viper, and it turned in this beautiful color. I was so happy. So I'll end up having to do some kind of different background. Now, hey, you doing my ladybug. Thank you, Hazel. Hazel calls me Ladybug. So I was talking to a couple people yesterday, and uh, we jumped into this piece because we're kind of right in the middle of it, right? It was already started, but how do you begin? Okay, now I'm still going to use the purely pigments. You have to think of me simulating them as a watercolor. Now, yesterday I was using the seeing if I have a package of gum arabic right here. I usually have a tub of it right behind me. I don't see it. So if we play with these again tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to mix the gum arabic in it. Wait a minute. Here we go. So there's a food grade gum arabic that you can get that's instantly water dissolvable. Now, everybody's asking about the watercolors. Yeah, we want to get the twinks up and running, but we raised some capital to make the bank happy. We fell short. The bank didn't come through with as much as we thought they would. And we still need to raise the rest of the capital to get that third building and get that. Um, it's a drying box that I designed, and if we build it ourselves, it's about I don't know $5,000-$10,000 versus having a contractor come in and do it. So we're still not there yet, but I'm going to show you guys how to. Now, this is not up on the website yet, but we can order this pretty soon. If you go to Frontier Foods, they offer a food grade gum arabic that's instantly dissolvable in water. And that's what this stuff is. Hey, Catherine, how are you doing? Good morning. So when I'm trying to make a primary, yeah, capital remove. Yeah, and then capital remove. Yeah, I need to move. Now, I have all those watercolors in the garage, those big giant ones. And there's about 5 of you that reached out to me as soon as I showed them a month ago that wanted to buy them. I need to get someone over here. I think Michelle's granddaughter is going to help me organize what I have of what color. We may need to auction them off so I can raise capital to move because they still want me out of here. And I can't say that I blame them. I need to be in a single story house. And so it's something I have in my garage, but you want some too. I know Sally D wanted some. There was, like I said, 5 of you that reached out that said big watercolors, big watercolors, big watercolors. So, if I have 500 pots in the garage, I might be able to raise some of the money to move. But we've always been able to tell people how to make their own. And because we sell the primary elements, it's basically 50-50. Uh, it went everywhere. It's just, I just flicked it up in the air. It's a powder. The cool thing about this stuff, it's instantly dissolvable. Most of the gum arabic that you find, uh, especially for a manufacturer, you're supposed to buy these big globulous balls and then soak them in water and let them swell and skim all of it off. And it's a big, giant, messy process. When in fact, you know, they have now processed the gum down to something that instantly dissolves in water because they use it for food products. It's actually used in your health bars. If you see something like Gar Gum or gum carabine in the description of a candy bar or a health bar, that's this stuff. That's actually gum arabic. People have used it to lose weight. Fun fact. Okay. So I'm not necessarily going to get deep into this, but Dee did ask yesterday if what I mixed up would reconstitute. We're going to find that out by some of these that have already dried up overnight. We'll find out if they reconstitute. I'm going to make one with the gum arabic just so I can show you how to do it. Now, the other subject that came up was, yeah, somebody look it up, eating gum arabic to lose weight. Who knew? You can look that up. You can Google that. So one thing that came up yesterday is because this piece back here, which we are going to work on today, was already in process. It's like, how do you get started once you get your pattern down? Okay. And it was actually Kathleen McGee said she thought it would be a great idea to show something from the beginning. And I know it's a little bit off path, but it's going to serve two purposes. I will be able to mix up some of these purely colors into the gum arabic, and we can practice with that. And then also show you how to do this first stage. And stage one is always the background. I know it seems strange, but you wet the background, get that done, let it set up, and then you paint the foreground. Now, in the case of my piece I've been working on, because there's going to come a time where I want that foreground bright color to kind of blend in with those really dark colors in the background, I'm going to do some kind of glaze or some kind of color over the background so they feel like there's an intersection in their meeting. Okay. But let's play with a little bit of this gum arabic. I'm sitting here looking for a brand new cup. I guess I can use this turquoise cup. Let's get this thing flipped over here and get playing. My back's still a little messed up, guys. So here is, okay, my camera doesn't want to stay where I'm putting it. No, leave the background. No, no. Well, it's pretty. Okay, she says leave the background pretty. I'm not going to ruin it, but some of this doesn't seem to match. So instead of just literally changing it, if you just kind of go over color that makes it feel like they belong, then this area up here that I put that venomous viper and the golden nickel in, I'm loving that combination, will feel, and it'll stay muted. I'm not going to, you think it's muted, but that's pretty dark background. Maybe because it's so blah or basic. There's a lot of red and wine in that, kind of a winey background in here. Some brown, a little bit of blue, right? But to get a background on, that's usually the first step. And as detailed as that piece was, it was a lot of work. So I'm going to first show you if I was going to try to make a gum arabic based color. You don't need much. By the way, we don't have this on our website for sale. We need to order more of it. So sorry to tease you like this, but Frontier Foods does have food grade gum arabic. So I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of that in that cup. Get this puppy off my table. And what's weird is with the purely pigments being already liquid, I'm used to mixing like equal parts primary element and gum arabic in here, right? I'd be adding, oh God, sorry, my back is spasming. I would be mixing the water in two different types of dry ingredients. But because this is a liquid, I don't want to pour this right in here and make gumballs, literally gumballs, because it is gum, right? So clean water I have on my table is in a spritz bottle. You don't have to do this with the gum arabic. I'm just showing it as an option. Dee was worried, or it was Doug Harrington, which is Donna actually. She was worried. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking some water and turning that gum arabic into kind of a liquid. So I've liquefied my binder. Believe me, that's a lot of binder in there. That quarter teaspoon's a lot. It goes completely colorless once you do that. Now I want the basket I'm going to do in warm browns. This is a basket of tulips. So the basket I'm going to do in the warm browns, you got to think about this, what your background's going to be. The leaves will probably have green. I want to do my tulips in orange and red with just pops of a little bit of purple here and there. So the turquoise background with maybe, it's too bad I don't have a little bit of gray here, will kind of give me a little bit of wash. I might be able to put a little bit of green over here just so it reflects the color, the green over here. But it's a food grade gum arabic that you can purchase on Frontier Foods where they sell spices and things. So this is just, I'm going to try this. This is a couple drops of the Cyan Aqua. That's from set number 3. And I just kind of had this bright idea this morning after talking to a few of you yesterday. You wanted to see how does it begin. And this is the River Rock Blue, I think. Hang on, let's be sure. Yeah, this is River Rock Blue, which I think I want both colors. So I'm going to do one with the gum arabic. I'll do one without the gum arabic and just water, color in the water. I'm not going to add the Vivid Intense. What is it? Art Fluid mixture. I'm getting confused here. Let me explain. Yesterday, I was wetting them down, adding a binder with 4 ounces of water and a teaspoon of Vivid Art Fluid. And that's what I'm going to keep using on my piece we're going to continue on today. But if I'm going to use something with gum arabic in the background, I'm either going to continue with the gum arabic in the background, or I can do this with just water. This will have enough binder for both of them as they run together. But I'm not going to put gum arabic and acrylic in the same thing. I don't want it to mess up or create issues in the way that it blends, that the color blends, right? So if I'm only going to use water, again, I got my spray bottle here. Let's get some water in here. Did I get that Cyan Aqua in here? I don't know. Did I ever mix the Cyan Aqua in here? Okay, let's kind of test and see what our colors look like. Get a little scratch piece of paper from over here. So this is the Cyan Aqua and the gum arabic. Ooh, and that paint's really nice. And if I want to add water, does it flow? Yes, it flows just like a watercolor. So the Purely Pigments, it was 1/4 teaspoon, equal parts water, 1/4 teaspoon of water, 1/4 teaspoon of the gum arabic, a couple drops of the Purely Pigments. It's got a really nice feel to it. And this is just a linen stock. This isn't even watercolor paper. Okay. And then this one just with the water. Okay. Because there's no acrylic in that, we know they're going to flow together. I'm not going to have a problem mixing together. And that's the thing. You want to make sure that whatever you're going to use is going to be compatible, right? So this is just that pure color. All right. I want one more green. I thought I grabbed the sap green. Did I not? So another green that would work is that hickory that we used that turned out too dark. Believe it or not, that hickory color that we made in set 2 looks a little bit like that dark green right here. But for doing an Easter basket, or basically a basket full of tulips, this background's a little bit too dark, right? It's way too dark for the piece that I'm doing. It's more spring. So the hickory leaf isn't going to work. I'm trying to find that darn sap green, or I'm going to have to custom make a green. I had it right here in my little hot hands. I started it, and I thought I put everything in the box. Hang on, that I wanted to use. Oh, there's the hickory. Well, we're just going to have to make a green. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Over here. I'd already had it pulled. Here's some sap green and peacock green, right? There you go, right behind. You guys got it. So I'm going to make one more mix with this, not purple. I got to get a cup that's clean. So I'm going to put a couple drops of the sap green in. Probably 3 on this. 1, 2, well, there's a couple blobs of that. And then this is Perfect Peacock, which is a pure fallow green. As soon as I mix this up, I may want to add just a dash of the pure fallow green, because this still kind of has almost an olivey feel as I'm looking at this color. So I'm figuring out what do I want on my background. That's a little olivey, I would say, right? I had a feeling it would be. It's a great olive color, but a little too olive for where I'm going for the mix that I'm looking for. I want something that is going to be representative of spring. Maybe starting with the sap was wrong. I don't know. Let's see what happens if I add some of the earth pigments misspelled there. Does earth pigments also sell food grade gum arabic? Is that what you guys are talking about? Here's some of the pure fallow green. Let's see if this greens us up enough. I'm trying to get kind of a custom color to go with my turquoise. Well, that's definitely more green. Now, see, now that's still a very, very earthy green, but see how it pulls it more to a true green color? So you got a lot of options here. Okay, but that's going to look a lot better because I'll probably use some of the limes in there, right? Okay, well, this is going to be fun. Everybody's going to go, what are you doing? All right, and then we got to get one with some lime in it. We're going to need a lighter green. I have one of the cups from yesterday. It's interesting. You know, she wanted to know if this was going to reconstitute. This is a perfect way to test it. So this is the one that had Vivid Intense. Not Vivid Intense. It had some of the Vivid Art fluid. Now, possibly it's because there was enough water in the Vivid Art fluid. But look at that, Miss Donna Harrington. When you come back and watch the replay, it actually is reconstituting from yesterday. So that's good to know. I was a little worried it may not because there's acrylic in that. I'm going to add a drop of my Viper to this funky kind of green that's left in that cup. So that's good to know that it does reconstitute. There we go. And even though it's a lighter limey green, it's not that unreal venomous Viper. Okay, so we got some colors. I'm crossing my fingers and holding my breath that this works for you guys. Get all my tools cleaned up. All right, so the trick is you need to put your water in the background first and don't get any other area wet. So let's Get a kind. Puppy pads are fabulous because not only are they absorbent, but they've got that plastic back to them, right? So it's not going to go through. So I don't exactly have perfectly clean water, so don't get freaked out when you see kind of an off-white water. But what you do is you just start wetting it. Now this is a student grade watercolor paper. Might be somewhere between 90 and 110. Can you guys see this? This is going to be hard for you to see because it's white on white. See if I can get this up. Hang on a minute. Let's get this up and over like we had the camera yesterday. Give me a second. And then get this turned where you can see. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I got the camera lifted up so you can get a better view of what I'm doing because you're not going to see that pattern with the white on white, right? All right, so we got that camera over the top. I'm sorry, guys. Can't do anything about a pull back. You just have to deal with it. So really quickly, while we're working on this, I want to work this water around. Now I'm going to work on the top, get this backside done. What you do is you get as much of the background wetted down, and remember, water goes where, or paint's going to go where paint's been before. At this point, I'm going to be really careful and focused. See how much you guys can see on that tablet. Okay, there's a little area in here. It's risky because you always feel like you just want to hand paint that section that's underneath the top of the basket. You want to make sure you get it good and wet. I know it's not perfect. The color looks a little bit taupe, but believe it or not, painters, when they're doing big pieces, they actually don't keep changing the wash water because the water contains all the colors you've been using in your palette. And it's strange, but it kind of reflects in all your colors if you keep using the same wash water. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it actually makes it look more natural when your wash water isn't perfectly clean and it's tinted with the colors that you're using on your other piece, the other areas of your piece. That's a good way to describe it. Now, this is kind of big for me to manipulate on here. Make sure this is nice and wet. If you were using heavy 140 watercolor paper, you'd be going over this twice, sometimes 3 times. You want to make sure that the water is well saturated. And I just realized right now I don't have this taped down. Normally I would have this taped down on a flat piece, and now it's curling on me. Big mistake, Leslie. Seeing if I got a piece of tape here. I do, but I don't actually have a flat board under my table per se. Sorry guys, I'm going to try to get a piece of tape off the roll here so we can flatten this down just a little. Sorry, that part I did not prepare for. Dang nabbit. It's hard to peel off tape when you have gloves, so we may not be able to tape it down. Darn it. Here we go. Hopefully this may work. This may not work. You kind of don't want it curling up. No, I don't think it's going to work on here. So let's just fly by the seat of my pants. Typically, I'll have like a flat melamine board, and then you tape it down on a flat surface. Okay, so the darker color is a river rock. I want to make sure I have plenty of water on my brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the river rock. I know this may seem really weird what I'm doing here. I'm kind of picking up some of the earth tone, some of that green and blue. Remember, we only want to go at right up to where the image is, right? It's a little bit too green for my liking. Too bad this isn't a Frederick's canvas that I can pull that color off of, right? Remember the Frederick's canvas yesterday? Here's some of my cyan aqua to get a little bit more of the color back, okay? And you're probably like, what is she doing? Look at all that color. Well, normally it's done with toilet paper. You can also use paper towel. But because this is so absorbent, oh, I need a smaller piece cut. Hang on a minute. You want to do it while it's wet. What you do is you kind of wad it up and blot it off. Start blotting off the color. Now, it may still have a little bit too much water and color in here because it took me too long to do this. But you make sure it's wet, and then you start blotting the color off. It should just be like a very soft, inconsistent background. Now that's a piece of puppy pad. This is a piece of paper towel. So it's not going to pick up as much. I don't like the puppy pad pieces though that are in there. That kind of bugs me. Toilet paper is what we used in the class. So I'm trying to get this wet enough to then blot this off. You just want a trace of the color left behind. This is a little bit too green for me right here. I know I can come in and touch this up afterwards. Maybe even say, hey, I still want a little tiny bit of blue right here. And then try to cover it up. Normally you just paint the whole thing, model it, and just let it dry. And you live with what you get on your background. Because it's only your background, right? Same thing over here. Get this nice and wet. Because this bottom part is a little bit dark. A little bit. The puppy pad seems to want to be giving me pieces. Let's see if it tries again. Because puppy pads is absorbent. It's the closest thing to the toilet paper. There you go. See what we're getting now? Now we're getting a really soft pattern in the background, right? I can always fix that front piece a little bit. Get some of this cyan aqua in here. I think that dark green was a little bit too green. I kind of like this lighter green. That's that mixture. But you got to be free. You got to be willing to be loose and be free. You can't be all stuck up. And this is where I run into trouble. I paint so tight. I want to go over everything and make sure it's perfect. I don't know when to stop overworking something. And when you're going to do a background like this, it needs to be super soft and subtle. I mean, you look at how bright that bottom is. I'm going to see if I can't fix it up a little bit. At the top is kind of what I'm looking for. It's just a little bit of color across that top to add a little continuity. Let's see if I can't soften this area down here below because this is really bright. And while this is wet, believe it or not, this is actually the time to fix it. Go in and blot off anything extra that you think is too dark. You want to do it at the time when the paint's still wet because it starts to dry with a hard edge otherwise, right? Now it's a little bit of risk to do this right in front of you guys. I've never actually done this. Not on camera. I'm painting for myself. Okay, so this would have to have a chance to dry. Let's see what anybody's saying. Share how they smash them. Yeah, they used to actually, when you go to the class, you're supposed to bring a roll of toilet paper and you smash it in half. And then when you're painting, you're blotting all the color from your paintbrush off onto the toilet paper roll. The closest thing I can get to it will be puppy pad because it's so absorbent, right? It's gonna kind of simulate having that toilet paper roll there. Okay, so I've got a background. The only thing is, look at what my puppy pad roll did. There's little pieces in here. Now, those should come off after it's dry. The bummer is little pieces add little spots, almost like when you ever drop salt on paper? I don't think the puppy pad was a smart idea because I don't like all these little pieces that are on here. When you throw salt on something, or even better, and hopefully we can do this once I move. There's a technique where you lay color down and then you actually drop like live plants. What happens is the color collects around the plant and starts taking on the shape. And so the same thing's kind of happening with these little puppy pad pieces. Dang nabbit. And I don't know if by using the paper towel will I be able to get them off. But yeah, that looks like little pieces of gel from inside. Oh my God, it's like little pieces of gel from inside the puppy pad. Okay, well, now we know what's on the inside of a puppy pad. But this isn't bad. This is going to give me a soft background. And if my basket is like a beautiful wicker brown to orange, and my tulips are yellow with a little bit of violet in them, they'll do okay with this background. So I'm going to set this thing aside, let this dry, and let's hope that Harley doesn't feel like it's his job to jump on top of it. He has a mind of his own, what he thinks is okay and not okay, and I'm shocked that they still haven't jumped up here. Okay, so let's go back to our piece from yesterday. Hopefully you guys can still see this. I think I have the camera in the right position. Oh, it looks like I do. I can see it up on the tablet. Okay, make sure you guys have the best view possible. All right, so yeah, I'm kind of liking, because I've been staring at this thing, coming in and checking it out all night. I really, really like what happened up here. I'm liking what happened when I went over that. I just want to make sure that we're still taking advantage of the lighter center spots of our trunks and keeping them the lightest value, right? But making all those stems pop up. Now this thing confuses me. This little piece, and I know I'm pointing out a big blender and it's right in the middle of it. But this was some kind of leaf with another leaf over the top, and it looks really disjointed. I may have to paint it afterwards. you know, touch it up somehow. Maybe if I can go in when it's time to go in with, say, an ink pen and put the veins in here or vein anything in with my paintbrush, it may work. But at this junction, I just want to get the rest of the color down and play a little bit with the stems on the bottom here that you guys can't quite see. I'm going to have to put this sideways. All right, the camera's perfect. I'm so glad. See, I can't show you the bottom without holding it up. So there is going to come a point when I'll have to turn this thing sideways like this in order for you to see the whole thing to get part of that bottom. Let me get these cups out of the way. Get the cups that we're going to use for these colors today. I'm just trying to figure out which is the best way to angle to paint this for you. So I'm going to start with some of these little veins here, the ones that are that green, and just kind of get my mojo back. Because I felt yesterday I was really getting my mojo working with this Nickel Wazzle Gold and the Venomous Viper, and where they ran together. Tilt the camera down a little bit. Can you see it now? Hopefully that's because I without getting up, I can't really see. I'm looking in the tablet to see what you guys can see. And I think right here is the edge I want to get to. Yeah, these veins are showing. So then that's good. We've got the whole thing in the vision. All right, let's get started. Have a little fun. I know I'm going to want some. Yesterday I was playing with the golden nickel and then the coral color. And again, I love that I can reuse these pots. Here's my golden nickel jars, my little thingy. Here's my coral color. This will work for the venomous green, venomous viper. Only I know now I won't have to mix it up a couple more times. I'm going to make a little bit extra today because I know I had to remake it a couple times. Now, remember, this stuff is super thick. To get this out is a challenge. I have the original batch. I know that the batches now for nickel, golden nickel, are much easier to get out of the jar. But I have the original ones that are super, super thick. That very first batch run that came out real thick. Here's that coral color. I'm really in love with this color. This is a sea coral in the new neon set. I just put 7 drops in there just so I have plenty. And here's the venomous viper, the bonus color. Now this bonus color is only coming if you order before Tuesday. After that, you'll have to buy it individually, but it's a bonus for this set. And there's like 8 or 9 drops in there. And we're going to add a little bit because we're using the solution made with 4 ounces of water and the sunglass alert. It's my painting, I know. So let me get a little bit of my water with a teaspoon of the, I keep saying Vivid Intense, Vivid Art Fluid, Vivid Art Fluid. 1 teaspoon of Vivid Art Fluid to 4 ounces of water. That is my mixture. So I don't know. I like mixing up in little batches. I like that I can reuse the cups. This is kind of an untraditional way to do it, but I love that I'm getting a wash. And to do the Paulina technique where she's dropping wet color in, wet inks in, you know, it's kind of fun. Get my brush clean. Let's get our coral mixed up. Good to go on that. Get our venomous viper. Okay, another color I was playing with yesterday was the wisteria. And this color, this is so pretty. That wisteria with the coral. The Tango Mango. I still have a little bit of that wet in the cup. The Tango Mango. Do you tango with your mango? Yes, I do. I tango with my mango. Just want to make sure I've got a nice little assortment already mixed up. So if I go to grab it, I don't have to start and mix up another color again. Here's the wisteria cup. So I can reuse it. Save the environment. There's a little squirt of wisteria in there. And then this to have it, of course, I wasn't using the cyan yesterday. I was using the lagoon, but I want to get a little bit of that cyan in there. I might need some of a blue, and it's a different kind of blue. And then one more. I made my own custom kind of olive color, and it was using the lime green. I think that's the one I just used. That neon venomous viper. Yeah, I know I'm getting hooked on one color. And then I actually added, I can just mix it here. The venomous vipers in here, I'm going to add a little drop of my golden nickel window and just kind of dirty up that color for me in the cup. So it's all ready in case I need like a dirty olive green. All right. So now we got them mixed. Let's get these puppies off our work area. So I'm keeping the green and that venomous green and the golden nickel right up front. Oh, I didn't mix up the cyan aqua. This is just in case I need a blue. And then the purple. Okay. So I've got some veins in here that I kind of wanted to finish up. It'll give me a chance to get started. Yesterday, I was able to take the golden nickel and drop the viper in it. I'm actually going to kind of do a couple spots at once. I know this looks yellow. Sorry, my wash water's just a little bit too far away. And then let's add some of this green. This venomous viper dropped into that completely changes that golden nickel. Oops. Come on, baby, get me that green in there. Same thing in here. Get some of this venomous viper. Now, I think I was actually starting with the green first on some of them, but you can go back and forth. So, for example, I'll start with the green on, see if I can find what we can do. Okay, so up here, okay, here's a nice big branch, right? So I'm going to take this green and run it down this branch. Of course, that's pretty bright green for the branch right there. But then I pick up some of the golden nickel. That's actually the better way to do it. Put the green down first and drop a little golden nickel in there. So for you get that variation, right? Hey, Evelyn. Hello, Evelyn from Orlando. Yes. So even though it started with the green, that golden nickel kind of like tinted that venomous viper color It's a really nice mixture where they mix together. Okay, so there's a branch here, a branch here. I kind of have to commit to this color combination because I'm starting to do it. So we're just going to like commit to this thing. I know it. My painting right now looks like two different people painted it. The back was painted by one person and the front was painted by somebody else. But I see how cool that looks with that golden nickel kind of running into that green. God, I love that color combination. And just let it run. Let them become one with one another. Same thing over here. I'm going to run this vein of green. But add my little bit of the golden nickel in there. Boy, that's really taken over. When that dries, a little bit more of that green's going to pop up. I think the green in my venomous is a little bit too washed down, and the golden nickel's a little bit stronger. So I'm just adding a couple more drops to my green. That is my option after all. I just kind of want to go through and touch up all these little stemmy areas. Like here's an area right here that we can paint. I'm going to go in with this. I know it seems weird, but once I go glaze over the top of this thing, hopefully it won't look so strange to you. I'm wetting my brush, patting down my brush. You can't see me do this on the puppy pad because we don't have room. I can't put the puppy pad on the canvas and get this wet. So I'm blotting in between, and then I'm trying to take the excess off and then adding a little bit of that nickel as a gold and let it run down in there. See how it's kind of running down in there on its own? Let it do its thing. Let it kind of make its own color. God, I love that combination. This looks a little bit too gold, so I'm taking some of that green and kind of painted it over the top. You know, as you're working on your painting, you're going to find things that you're going to want to touch up. Like this I did last night. Didn't seem rich enough color, but now that it's completely bone dry, I can go in there and touch this up, add a little contrast to this thing. Because I got all these little stems coming behind here. The thing is I'm going to have to figure out what is the color for my trunks that's different than these. You know, that's not bad. I kind of don't mind the color that it is, but I'm going to have to come with one color to kind of go over all of my trunks so they look like they belong. Here's a little stem. Oh, but it's right next to a part that's brown. So let's do the lime green here. So it looks like it belongs there. All right. I think you can still see what I'm doing from this direction. Let's see what's on the camera. We're going to do this leaf. Let's do a really pretty big one. Yesterday, we were having towards the end, it was a lot of fun to play with the coral, the nickel gold, and that yellowy lime color. Okay. So if I wanted to do that again, I'm going to wet the whole leaf down. Remember to wet the area. Those little stems, I didn't do that too, but the leaves, make sure you're wetting the leaf down. And if you got multiple ones going on, you're not going to wet down the leaf right next to another one, right? You don't want the colors to run together. So I'm just taking some clean water. Yeah, this canvas is going to be more forgiving than that watercolor paper I was working on. This is that special Frederick's Canvas watercolor canvas panel. That's designed to remove color. If you don't like something, you just push it back and remove the color. That's the beautiful thing about this canvas. They sent this to me 18 years ago to test on, and I started the background and never finished the painting. So you can say that my planned and not let work sit unfinished. I'm working on it. Okay, so the whole thing is wet with water, dirty water. That's actually kind of pretty the way it is. But as colorful everything is, we're not going to leave it at that. All right. So I'm going to kind of force the lime green from the bottom. Kind of let it have its spot right on the tip. And as I move my way up, I want a little bit of that nickel azo gold in there. It's called golden nickel in the Purely Pigments. So that's a nice little addition right there. We already know those two colors work really well together. It's not kind of blooming as much as I hoped it would. Want a little more color to bloom in there. But let's add our sea coral on the top first. And see what it does as it's going to bleed in there. Let's add the sea coral. Rinse my brush. Add a little bit more of this golden nickel, which absolutely loves that sea coral. They make fast friends. So now we're getting some nice variation on this leaf. Oh, sorry about that, guys. My back just keeps muscle spasms. I figure the best thing I can do is keep staying physically busy. If you just sit in a chair and lock it up, it's not going to heal. So I've got to move. I need to paint. I need to do things. So sorry if I sound like I'm whining, but every once in a while, spasm pops up. So I still feel like I need a tiny bit more color here. Now I'm blotting, gonna fan out my bristles and see what I could do to get them to kind of talk to one another. And then let's get a little more green in the tip. I know you guys have seen fall leaves that have those little bright green speckles along with all the fall colors. I don't like that it's creating this little curve here. So I'm going to actually pick it up. Remember, it's going to go where it's gone before. So I'm going to try to tilt it slightly. I did that with the Paulina technique, but I don't think I can get away with it on this. I'm going to have to keep spreading this around till it meets in the middle. Feels like it's created a form. That's pretty. I'm liking that blush of color there. Now, when we are able to put in veins, there's going to be veins here. I can see the patterns in the pencil to be able to draw a little vein to put a detail. I could do that with a pen, would probably be the funnest thing to do it with, is kind of Posca pen. I don't think it has to be done with a paintbrush in order to be pretty. I'm happy to cheat, if you call it cheating anyway, and play with a Posca pen there to get the detail in there. Anything that's going to bring my art to life, bring it up to life. Now that's a little bit different from this one. What did Evelyn do? Thanks, Scarlett. Thanks for the service. Somebody did something for somebody out there. Hi there, Brain Stealer. Yes, I'm feeling good today. Big hugs to all you guys. Hope you're having a fantastic holiday weekend. Fun, fun, fun for everybody. So I do want to paint this vein, but it's too close to this leaf. Okay. And I think the next one we're going to do, it's weird. This looks like part of a leaf that's connected to another part of the leaf. I don't know if I'm going to get away with too much of the blue. I think I need to stick to these more fall colors. Now, the red and the green will pop. So if I started with some green on top of this, I realize this is next to it, so I can't paint that yet. But if I was thinking about painting it, what would be contrasting? I could start with a green up here because that red is right there and end up with a red or the purple on the bottom, right? So there's this one here that doesn't have a home yet. It's a weird shape, though. It looks like she's got another leaf here over the top of it. Those are the hardest ones for me to paint, is try to look at this drawing that she did. It's very, very detailed. Maybe that's why I waited 18 years to paint in the leaves, right? Because there's a lot of detail to this. So if I was going to start this up here with green, then I could start this up here with like the red or the coral again. Only this time I'm going to start with that wisteria. Haven't played with the purple yet. Let's see what I can do with getting some wisteria in there. And then drop a little bit of some of this coral. See what happens by pushing these two colors around into one another. But remember, Tango Mango, that's how we did this one over here. The Tango Mango uh, dropping into the coral, pretty color combination where they just sort of blended into one another. The Tango Mango, where it mixes with that coral, is going to make a really pretty orange. Just trying to move around this mango color. That's pretty. I'm liking that color combination. I'm liking that flow. I'm liking that purple going into the coral, going into the tango mango yellow. And where they mix together, they make a pretty color. I mean, I could go really creative and put one little drop of green here in the tip of this yellow. So it looks like see it edged out with a little bit of some green. That's not bad. I know I'm going to have to touch these up with pins. Even some of the outlines probably need to be touched up with the pins because it's been so long since I transferred this pattern and drew this thing. Get these little bubbles off of here. It's forming these little bubbles. So I've got a dry brush. I blotted it and it was going to pat out those little bubbles. I think I'm going to put a little bit more of this venomous viper green right here. I know some people are going to find this fun. Other people are going to say, wow, I just want to put some paint on paper and pour. And I get it. But can I say how relaxing this is at night, sit in front of your TV? You can download these pictures, transfer them with that graphite paper, which I showed you guys yesterday. That's not on my table right here. Graphite paper, it looks like it's basically paper with lead on the pencil lead on the back of it, right? That when you drop it on top of an image and then you take a stylus tool or some kind of some way to redraw the image on top of it, it transfers it in pencil to your canvas. So I'm enjoying this one. I know there comes a point to where you stop overworking it. For me, when is that? When do I stop overworking the leaf? Because you want to just keep adding color and see what happens when they blend together. The cool part is over here, like when they dry. And then it kind of looks so real, right? Really, we're getting real here, folks. Getting really real. Can we put which links, honey? You need some links for something? Uh, Evelyn, yes, I learned the Tay technique from her, had to develop my own formula for lacing. Wow. White graphite paper. Oh my God, Evelyn, I can't find my white and I love it. That's what I did my turtle with on that piece that Sandy Sanders bought my turtle yesterday. My pretty turtle. I like that white graphite, especially for certain designs. The black is kind of harsh. The white is, as long as you can see it on the surface that you're putting it on, it's great. The white, so it does come in white and black. The other option is just to use watercolor pencils and draw a design. Now, not everybody's comfortable with the way they draw, but the beauty of a watercolor pencil, got a little extra green over here. If you want to fix it, the watercolor pencil will just meld right into your piece. It's literally going to become part of the art. So I don't know if this is visible, so I'm going to have to turn this. I want to do this bottom leaf here for you guys. Let's see if you can see this. Yeah, this really big one here in the bottom needs to get done. Of course, it's our focal piece. Now this is starting to dry up here. I've got pockets of where it's dry and where it's not. And I'm just going to take the artistic license and just kind of soften it right here where it's drying and where it's still wet. So, okay, so we've got this one here. It's got 3 sections here, here, and this whole section down here. Now we're leaving off with green. This one ends with green. We could start the top of the hair with the red or the purple, right? And, I'm looking for what's going to contrast against each other when I'm painting. What colors are going to talk to one another? Now I'm only doing this leaf. Now this leaf has a lot of veins behind it that I'm probably going to do in green. So I'm going to make this leaf mostly coral and the yellow and the purple and save that green so these veins back here will pop when I add that olive green, right? It'll make it more contrasting for us. So I've got my little bit of wisteria here. Just try to edge this thing with some of the wisteria. Same thing up here. Because we know that purple is going to pop against all those green veinings behind it. I've been fantasizing about how to get the whispering wisteria and the venomous viper in the same image, because these 2 colors right here pop so much. I mean, literally after I did the neon the thing for you guys, I kept fantasizing about those 2 colors. What could I do to put those 2 colors together, right? At least it was the fantasy. Okay, so here is our coral. Just kind of bleeded it into the wisteria. Gonna let it bleed. Trying not to overwork it. That's my challenge. I have a tendency to overwork everything. I think I've already told you half a dozen times already. But overworking means you go back and do it, go back and do it, go back and do it, and go back and do it again. Yeah, and sometimes you just kind of let it flow. Like, look what's happening to this leaf we did last night. I didn't create that, but this incredible dark edge has formed up around the leaf, giving that shape of the leaf because I did this separately from the background. The background was completely dry. And so when I wetted and did the leaf on top, see how it kind of created that beautiful shape of the leaf. This is going to do the same thing here. These dark colors that I put in the background are going to kind of pull up and start edging the leaves that I'm creating, which is the nature of the beast. The first color down can lift up and then kind of hug the color I'm putting on top of it, right? So here is our Tango Mango. Wow, that's this combination's nice. I'm liking that one right there. This reminds me of that first one we did yesterday. Only I'm feeling a little bit more proficient. I have never tried to use purely pigments as a watercolor, but there's no reason why not. It's just pure water. I mean, just pure color mixed with water in kind of an inky distribution. Now that looks like it needs a tiny bit more coral here. I really like the saturation of the one on the left. I'm hoping that I can come close to this with this one on the right that I'm doing. And get a little more purple on the top here. So for you, it's going to be very intuitive. You're going to look and go, no, I want to fix this. No, I want to add a little bit more of that. Tap a little bit more color in there. Look at that. That's really gorgeous. Now, these leaves need to be done the same way. And because I went with the purple coral and the tango yellow, I can get away with the purple on the top here again. And where the purple and the yellow meet, it's going to contrast, which is the whole thing I'm thinking about. What can I do to contrast? Now, this is a little risky. I'm trying to do the rest of this leaf next to a portion that's already wet. There is a small gap here. So it's a little bit of a risk, hoping that I don't paint too outside of the lines and risk that. It's so weird when it's silent here and I can't hear you guys. I know that it's weird there when you're into the room too, because you're sitting in silence, listening to me or watch people talk. At times I wish we were in a room, like in a Zoom room. See, now the yellow is trying to bleed into my purple there. I have a little crisis going on. See if I can't, this is a dry brush, see if I can't stop it. I'm just going to try to remove any wetness right there and keep it separated. I don't want any more color going in there. I'm going to drop a little yellow down here to keep going with our color combination. It's weird. There's another leaf right here I'm painting around. Again, her piece is so damn detailed. I'm wondering, did I wait this long because it's so detailed? Or did I just wait this long because I stopped painting for pleasure even for the longest time? Seriously. You know, you get so caught up in making stuff for everybody. That's why I decided at the end of last year, what am I doing this for? I mean, obviously, I'm doing it for me and I'm doing it for you, but if I can't paint with the product that I make, what's the point? Don't give myself the luxury, the time, the gift to paint with stuff that I'm designing. There's something wrong with that photo, something wrong with that picture. So I'm kind of liking the flow of this one. It is a little wet right here. I can soak some of that color up, I will, because I want it to stay right where it's at. I don't want this bleeding into this. I've got a nice little separation happening here. A couple more drops of this Tango Mango. I'm loving this one right here. This is the combination. Now, if I'd done them all like that, you're going to find that when you're painting, you're going to, as you get going, you're going to go, oh, wow, that really works out. Now I know the combination of colors that I want to use, right? So I know I'm overworking this. This is just that section that bled into each other. And I keep thinking if I can just get this to look yellow right on this tip. There we go. There we go. Move that coral down just a little bit so it doesn't look so disjointed. All right, now that looks like that belongs there. I'm happy with that. Let's see what else we've got to do. I know we've got this section, but this is still wet right here. I'm going to look around and see if there's any veins or little stems, you know, those stem areas that I can work on while we're letting the other sections dry. Like this is wet, so I can't do this leaf. This leaf I can probably get away with because it is, God help us, it is far enough away. You know, it's weird. I almost want to paint this one blue, like another one of the blue ones just coming out of the, just out of the blue, literally out of the blue. Okay, let's see if I can do this. So I'm going to add a little bit of purple down here. So the purple's not next to the purple in the leaf next to it. That's a lot of water. We pull some of this water up. It's looking really, really watery there. All right, now I've got some of this cyan blue. It's a different color than what I was using yesterday. Just a little blue edge on top of that violet. I don't know. In nature, when you want to create, here's a little tip for you guys. In nature, when you're going to create some kind of shadow, you don't make gray. Your shadows are purple or blues. Even on the most beautiful white rose in the world, a painting of a white rose, you're going to notice if you really look at it close enough, the shadows are going to have purples and blues in the shadows. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow here and see if this may make my leaf look weird. It does look a bit weird. So maybe that cyan aqua isn't exactly the color to mix with that purple, but I can do this, add a little bit of the lime green. I've just made a kind of an unusual leaf, but considering how weird all the leaves look in the forest, I'll paint it that way and leave it alone. Just another walk in the neighborhood through the forest, through wherever this birchwood section is. Well, I'm really enjoying yeah, I know it's a hard concept for beginners to understand. First time Medina Art said it's a hard concept for beginners to understand using the blue and the violet as shadows. And yet, if you stare at paintings and white roses is probably the easiest. Look at a painting of white roses, and if you really look at the shadow, you're going to notice it's not a gray. They did not paint gray in there. There's some kind of blue or violet to get it to look like this. Now, this is that one that I just touched. I'm just softening up that hard edge just a little bit between that golden nickel. Okay, let's see if I can find another section that I can touch up all these stems. I got a bunch of stems here that I can go ahead and work on. See, venomous viper and the golden nickel. We like that combination. That's what we're using all the way through as our theme. So, wow, this actually is a big branch here. Might as well get this started because this is going to have to dry anyway. She's right, though. It's a hard concept. Most people will think if I want to do a shadow, I'm going to make a gray. But nature doesn't put gray in the environment. It just doesn't. Okay, so there's my little bit of nickel azo gold to kind of bleed into that green. So randomly, I want it random. I don't want it all green and I don't want it all golden nickel. I want to have the randomness. And like I said, I know you guys like the background, but once I do all these bright stems, I'm going to have to put some kind of color over the background just to kind of soften this so it looks like it belongs. But you have to do it in phases. You're not going to be able to do it all once, especially in a live, unless you guys are willing to sit here for 4 hours while I use the air dryer in between each section. Because to properly do this, you've got to let certain sections dry. So let's get some more of our venomous viper. One thing I want to talk to you guys about, I forgot to do at the beginning, is the paint brushes. Like, there are really good watercolor brushes, and no, you don't necessarily have to spend, $50 the first time on a good brush. But if you see a really good watercolor brush for 20-something bucks, and maybe not on Amazon, you're better off probably going to Cheap Joe's or Jerry's Artorama. But they charge a little bit more because of how it is trimmed. I'm pushing back some of that gold because I can. Remember, this canvas is forgiving. It lets me push off color if it's too much. And then I'm adding some of the green back into this little leaf. So this little leaf's kind of the same color as my branch. But the brushes, the silver brushes, I'm not even sure because I don't have the camera at the right angle. I used to think I had to paint with a number 1, like the tiniest tip. And the interesting thing, especially on, this is called Black Velvet by the company called Silver. Let's see if we can get this up in the camera for you guys. If you look at that point, sorry, I'm going to try to get it down there and stay on one spot. Let's get to the point, get a little bit further back. The reason why that point goes to the tiniest little point is because how they have trimmed every single hair on this brush to where it goes to such a little point, you feel like you're using a number 1. This is Silver is the company that makes this, and it's a Black Velvet series. And this is a number 8. I can't believe I'm using it. I used to be so OCD, I had to use a 1 or a 2. I was so afraid that I couldn't use a big brush. And yet a big brush will give you, it holds more paint here for you in the middle and then dispenses it to your tip. So when you're ready to actually do this, a good paintbrush, you don't have to spend that much money on it, but one good brush will make you really happy. One good brush makes all the difference in the world. I think I started with a 6. That's the size of the brush, and I finally graduated to an 8. But I had to get comfortable using it, right? You have to get comfortable enough to know that it's going to hold the right color for you, and then it's going to disperse it for you as you want to paint it. Okay, so here's another green vein. It's an odd spot. And this is a very weird leaf right here that's kind of over the top. So I'm actually going to paint it with the Viper. I kind of want a little break here because there's another leaf coming out of this behind us. and then get this Nicoaza gold. That's a lot of Nicoaza gold, way too much, Leslie, in there. Didn't mean to drop so much. I know that stuff is really strong. It keeps dropping a lot of color in there for me. But there's nothing in nature's that's that perfect venomous green, except when a brand new leaf pops out. The leaf is really, really super thin. There's not enough flesh on it. And it's the sun and how thin the leaf is that makes it that bright, unrealistic, unreal new leaf green. So having this color here is just going to kind of break it up. So now what do we have left? Apparently, this looks like this is continuing on. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to fill it in because this looks like this is part of this way she drew this thing. So make it look normal. Now, I'm not real happy with the hard line here when I ended up doing this last night, created kind of a hard line on the trunk. But remember, the beauty of this watercolor canvas is I can reawaken these colors. This is the Frederick's watercolor canvas, and it's designed to be able to reawaken the color if you wanted to remove some. So see, I'm going in here, I'm just kind of softening up what did I put in that trunk yesterday that made those hard lines. And now looks like it belongs there. Now it looks a little bit more irregular. Okay. Okay, we got a weird little leaf up here. Looking for all these weird little ones. This is one that we can do. Yeah, I don't know. It almost screams to do another one in the blue purple. But my last blue and purple didn't turn out that well. So I'm going to go with just the green, like I have on this one down here. Because no two leaves are ever identical. Maybe when it first comes out in your tree, like I have a cherry tree in the backyard, and that may not be true for that because it looks so symmetrical. But once the tree's been going, and it's not brand new growth, that's when the variations of colors of how much it's been hit by the sun that day. Maybe that part of the tree was hit by more sun than the other part of the tree, right? Let's get a little bit more of the green in here. Yeah, that Nicoaza gold's really strong. It's been kind of dominating as I'm taking it over. See if anybody's saying anything. Am I in the painting zone? I'm in the zone. Tilt what? Oh, you want to see the piece? You want to tilt? What do you mean tilt? If I tilt it, the color's going to run. So what do you mean by tilt? You want me to put this up so you can see the more of it? Because I can do that. But if I tilt it, I don't want the color to run. I got wet color on this canvas. Who's asking me to tilt? Leslie, tilt. Ha! What do you mean tilt, guys? Oh, the camera. Okay. So can you not see everything? Because it's as tilted as I'm going to get it. I'll push this up a little bit. Better? Yeah, it's as down as I can get it. If I go any further down, you're not going to see it all. I can do one more little tilt. Let's see if it takes off that back canvas. Let's see if it does it. Okay, there we go. Now that's a little more of a tilt. You guys okay with that? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. Whoosh. I'm like, I can't tilt the canvas. What does she mean by tilt? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to just go for this leaf here. Hopefully the veins behind it that I painted are dry enough. because it's begging to have some color put on it. Let's start with our coral, our combination of the coral in the top, nickel as a gold in the middle. And these colors are coming out really pretty. I'm loving this sea coral. Thanks, guys, for reminding. I didn't think I could tilt the camera a little bit more. You have to be a perfect artist and a studio stage manager. Yeah, I can't. I can only push it up so far before the back falls off. I've got a little backdrop here, but good point. You guys are so sweet. Everybody's hanging in with me while I sit in. Thank you for indulging me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You're indulging me today, letting me paint a second day in a row like this. It really is fun, and it's a different form of fluid art. Let me tell you, it's still fluid art. Here's some of that nickel Wazzle gold. Let it mix into our, see how that goes up into the coral? And it goes right into the green. Pull some of it up, because like I said, it's pretty strong. I'm liking that color combination. Okay, let's get some of it out of there. I want to maintain my green edge, my beautiful lime green edge. Yeah, I can't believe this part's already green. I did lose a lot of my coral though, didn't I? It went totally red. Just pink that up just a little bit with a little more coral in there. Because I just want a little bit darker right on this top. And then have the colors fan out, right? All right, we still have a really big leaf in here to do, this whole section. And then we got all these veins in here to do. So I'm going to paint. Now I am breaking the rules. I did not wet this first. Uh-oh, and look what's happening. The leaf I painted earlier, the purple's already starting to pour in there, and I thought for sure this leaf down here was dry. It's obviously not, because it's picking up the purple. I know, another risk, a little risky move here. More venomous viper. Little bit of my nickel Wazzle gold to kind of earth it up a bit. Yeah, I'm in the zone, you guys. I'm totally in the zone. You have to be if you're going to sit and do this. This is not just dropping paint and swiping, right? I'm going to try to put a little bit of, but I didn't wet the stem and head of it, because I'm trying to keep the colors from around it from running in. Now here I'm going to try to pull some of that leaf color in. I'm adding a little more green to my vein here. See if I can pull some of that color out. It's a little dark, so I'm going to pull some of the color off right here. And then try to add some of the green to the stem. There we go. That's not horrible. Still see a lot of little stuff to be tightened up. Lots of stuff to be tightened up. Here's another little stem. Those little pops of green's kind of nice. Kind of digging that. Yeah, I really like those two colors together, the venomous viper and the golden nickel. I love that irregularity of it. Okay, well, since this is giving me more red down here, I'm going to start with some green on the top and end with the red on the bottom. Because the green can come from any area, right? Now, if I could take some of this Tango Mango, wow, talk about sunglass alert, John. By the way, John N is such a sweetheart to offer to do this. We do have some other wrenches. Evelyn has a wrench so she can put up links. I think Kathleen McGee does. Any of the regulars, I'll normally give you guys wrenches. So I don't want to leave it just to John, but he is a great. Somebody gave me a huge compliment on you, John. I said, we love your co host, John. So there you go. You're already getting a reputation, sir, of being a fantastic helper. People recognize help and talent. And you are such a sweetheart to post that. He does that all out of a labor of love, guys. So we need to thank John for being so thoughtful and helping. Okay, so I'm going to kind of try to add a little nickel here and not overdo it, but I'm starting because I want the colors contrasting against one another, and this green against that red is contrasting, or against that orange color. So I don't want to lose all my green, but now I have to kind of gradiate down here. And then we can Tango Mango here, right? And then I have the option to kind of put a little coral at the tips. Kind of blend them together. That way I'm looking at my piece, looking at what colors go next to one another, and I want them to pop, complement each other. Purple complements yellow. The lime green definitely complements purple because there's so much yellow in this lime green. See how well we do with this coral over here. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend this weekend. It's always lovely having Memorial Day and Labor Day where you get a chance to either hang with yourself an extra day off, or maybe go to a barbecue at your neighbors, or visit friends, or maybe you got family coming over. I know a lot of people are going to go boat. Where we're at, our lakes are super full and they haven't been full in years. And so I am a little worried that there will be some boating accidents this weekend because people haven't been able to get on the boats for a couple of years. In California, we have so much water in this ice pack right now. It's amazing. I'm thrilled, but I just hope everybody stays safe. Typically, when we get that first holiday where everybody can get out on their boats, some people do dumb stuff. I hope there's no dumb stuff this weekend. That's my prayer for everybody. So I'm just trying to spreading this around, variegating it from the up. We're going to add a tiny bit of this nickel azo gold, and that's going to kind of like pull it all together. That's that golden nickel color, right? These are really take shape, which I can go over with a Posca pen. I'm probably going to have to do that at night all on my own and then just come back and say, look what happened where I added the pen. Wow. Well, we're getting there. We are getting there. Here's another one over here. It's far enough away from everything where it can probably handle the purple. I try to do a little purple thing like we did before. Get that wisteria up here. If it lets me, that's a lot of wisteria. Get a little purple along this edge here. And then add some of our coral color. God, I got a lot of water in this one little section. Pull it down. Well, we want the mango tango in there, not the green. This one's where we put the mango tango combination. Just got to get a little bit of that color up here. So it looks like I lost a lot of my purple. But remember, this is a watercolor canvas. It's designed for you to add and remove color. If I said it wasn't enough purple on there, add a little bit of purple back in. Add a little tiny bit of my coral right here. This is a weird leaf because it stops and starts and stops and starts. So it's kind of hard to, like, you can't really let all the colors run together because there's that little branch going over the top of it there. Now here, uh-oh, what's going on? You can only hear me, you can't see me? What the heck's going on, guys? We're using our imaginations. Black screen. What the heck? Okay, I'm gonna stand up. Oh God. Okay, it's a low battery issue. That's why. Okay, so it's gonna probably give me about 5 more minutes. We've been on here for 99 minutes, so I'm gonna fix these bottom stems. Can you see me now? Yeah, my battery was giving me a low battery warning, but I'm sitting down so I couldn't see it. So I'm going to finish these bottom stems. We're at 99 minutes. So sadly, we'll see how much more. If I'm getting a low battery warning, and this thing was completely juiced up. We're using a lot of juice right now. And my back is very mad at me. So let's get the rest of these little stems done. All this background stuff that I can get done quick while we only have so much battery to go. So sorry, guys. I looked up and I saw a black screen. I'm like, what happened? But you could still hear me. That's crazy. That's that mic that John helped me with my lapel mic. So I'm filling all of this in with the venomous viper. Just getting these stems done. And then we'll do a little bit of the nickel, the golden nickel effect technique. Go in there and kind of muddle the color up a little bit so it's not that perfect green. I'm kind of liking this brightness, even though I thought I was going to have to do this as a full fall thing. It's I've kind of taken a lot of license and used really bright colors. Like I said, with that background so muted, I'm just going to have to go over it with something. And then in here, after all this is dry, I have to do something to kind of add a slight tint to my center tree. But I don't know. I think we're at a good point since my battery's about to die on me, guys. I'm so sorry. Let me get this down so I can. Oh, come on. Please don't fight me. My little stand is fighting me, and my back is just not strong enough to handle it right now. Sorry, guys. That's pretty cool even at the lower level. You have like a better look at it this way. I mean, you can see a lot from this angle. But like I said, that part of the trunk that's a little bit light, I'm probably just going to do some kind of wash over it. It's going to have to be close to this color, maybe a little bit lighter. And then this area that's that really, really, really dark brown. If I go over the top with one of the colors used in here, it could be golden nickel mixed with that green. It could be this color that I used. Believe it or not, kind of washed around it. I'm loving how the brown from the background is encasing those colors. So yeah, John put the link up. Now here's the deal. The pre-order event ends Tuesday night, the day after Memorial Day. We're going to hold it over just in case you guys are out boating and barbecuing and hanging with your friends. The free gift ends on Tuesday. Okay. The Venomous Viper is bottle number 17 on the 16-piece collection. So that's going to be the bonus. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. I just do. I really, really hope you have a good weekend. I'm glad you could join me. Sorry that my back is acting up, but I think we got a lot done. I want to pick it up, but I don't want the colors to run. I'm so tempted to pick it up because this thing's really coming to life and it wasn't what I expected. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you guys being here. Absolutely. Anytime I can help. And by the way, Donna, in the beginning of the video, I was able to reconstitute the colors used with the Vivid Art Fluid and water solution, shock of all shocks. And I think it's because there was so much water in that solution, it allowed me to reconstitute the color in the cup. And that was your question from yesterday, Donna. So we answered that at the Vivid, at the beginning. It's the Vivid Art Fluid, 4 ounces of water and a teaspoon. Yes, it works awesome. Thank you so much, Scarlett. Everybody have a fabulous weekend. Hugs and kisses. Bye.